In today's weekly Star Wars news update, new information on The Mandalorian Season 3, the Damon Lindelof Star Wars movie has cast both of its leads, another two major A-list actors could be coming to the Star Wars universe, and new leaked set photos from the Acolyte series. There's lots to go over this week, so let's get going. This week was a huge one for those of us eagerly awaiting The Mandalorian Season 3. Monday brought us the first official poster for the series, followed by what will likely be the final trailer before the March 1st premiere. We broke down our favorite moments from that trailer in a YouTube short. We'll be sure to link that in the end card of this video, but that wasn't all of the Mando highlights this week brought us. Disney quickly followed up on the hype with a press release for the series in which they revealed the entire director's list for The Mandalorian Season 3. The list includes directors from past Mando seasons, as well as some fresh faces. Returning directors from past seasons of The Mandalorian include Rick Famuyiwa, who directed Season 1's Chapter 2, The Child, and Chapter 6, The Prisoner. He also directed Season 2's Chapter 15, The Believer. Carl Weathers is also back. He directed Season 2's Chapter 12, The Siege. And finally, there's Bryce Dallas Howard, who directed Season 1's Chapter 4, The Sanctuary, and Season 2's Chapter 11, The Heiress. She also worked on the Book of Boba Fett's Chapter 5, The Return of the Mandalorian, which really was more of a Mandalorian episode than a Boba Fett one. New additions to the director's list for The Mandalorian Season 3 includes Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse's Peter Ramsey, who was previously revealed to also be directing at least one episode of the Ahsoka series. There's also Rachel Morrison, who's likely best known for being the Black Panther cinematographer, along with a slew of other TV and film work. And lastly, we have Lee Isaac Chung, who directed 2020's Minari and is set to direct Twisters, a sequel to the 1996 film Twister. Famuyiwa was announced to have been promoted to executive producer on The Mandalorian Season 3 during Star Wars Celebration last year, as series creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni said he'd take a more senior role in their absence as they become busy with additional projects set during the Mandoverse, including Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, and the mysterious new codenamed Ghost Track 17 that we've discussed over the last few weeks. Regardless, the list of directors chosen for The Mandalorian Season 3 is nothing short of amazing. Those returning to the series directed some of the absolute best episodes so far, and the new faces to the team bring some impressive resumes. March 1st cannot come soon enough. This is the way. Another week, another Jeff Snyder report regarding the upcoming untitled Star Wars film being written by Watchmen's Damon Lindelof. On the latest episode of Jeff Snyder and John Rocca's podcast, The Hot Mic, Snyder was asked by the chat if he knew where Damon Lindelof's Star Wars project was set to film, to which Snyder said he had no idea, and followed up with clarification regarding what gender the lead in the movie is, following a lot of confusion from his report a couple of weeks ago, which we did cover. Previously, Snyder revealed on The Hot Mic that Lindelof and Lucasfilm had cast a male person of color in the lead role, and that this actor had success bouncing between both television and film roles. Less than 24 hours later, Snyder took to Twitter after a second source reached out and told him that the lead is actually a female person of color, before mere hours later revealing the original source is standing by the lead being a male actor of color. Things were all over the place. Speaking on The Hot Mic once again this week, Snyder clarified the messy 24 hours that surrounded his Lindelof lead report. Two questions were thrown his way, which Snyder was happy to clear up. The journalist finally clarified that there's actually two leads of the movie, a male and a female, both people of color. He said, quote, "I do think I sussed it out. I said it was a man, right? Then someone reached out and said, nah, it's actually a woman. Then the original source came back and said, trust me, it's a man. The truth is that it's both. There are two POC leads. There's one man and one woman, but the man has a little bit of a bigger role than the woman. That's why I was hearing it's a female person of color lead. It's two. As far as the names go, I haven't heard anything, but there was somebody though. I don't think there being both a male and a female lead is a shock to anyone, especially if we think back to the sequel trilogy. In The Force Awakens, both John Boyega's Finn and Daisy Ridley's Rey were presented as the main characters before Finn would be pushed to the side more and more in episodes 8 and 9. Given that, as of now, Lindelof's movie is a standalone, with sequels possible depending on its reception, two leads for that movie is not much of a surprise. Hopefully we find out who exactly these two lead actors are in the near future. Little is known about the Damon Lindelof project, but the film is supposedly slated to film by the summer of this year. Lindelof is co-writing the flick with Justin Britt Gibson, and Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is on board to direct. The film is expected to be released on December 19th, 2025, and is rumored to be formally announced at Star Wars Celebration, taking place in London in just under 3 months. The hot series streaming right now that seemingly everyone is talking about is HBO's The Last of Us, starring none other than Mando himself, Pedro Pascal. However, another actor from The Last of Us, Gabirel Luna, who plays Tommy, has expressed interest in a Star Wars role, even having a specific character already in mind. In an interview with comicbook.com's The Last of Us Pods, Luna told the story of how he once wrote to Dave Filoni and requested the live-action role of Ezra Bridger, long before his upcoming appearance in Ahsoka was locked in, being portrayed by Amanda's Fondi. Luna said, quote, "This was me throwing my hat in for a certain Ezra Bridger. This was years ago, not ever knowing if they would ever do anything with Ezra. But it was just, that's one. He's probably besides Luke, he's my favorite character. Well, actually, I'm sorry, R2, Luke, Ezra Bridger." Luna isn't done though, already having another role in mind, saying, quote, "Then of course, I'm a big fan of the new High Republic stuff. There's another great character in that. I don't know if anybody's I don't want to mention it now here, but there's another great character here that I think I might be angling towards. Elzar Mann. Elzar Mann was a Jedi during the High Republic era. Mann was a controversial Jedi to say the least, much more like a Qui-Gon Jinn who you may be more familiar with. He had an unorthodox manner of using the Force. His close friend Avar Kriss described him as a tinkerer who enjoyed experimenting with the Force and disliked using it the same way twice. However, this trait made him somewhat unreliable, and often he worked alone, apart from the other Jedi. This doesn't seem entirely outside the realm of possibility, with Kathleen Kennedy pushing Lucasfilm towards more on-screen High Republic content, beginning with The Acolyte, which we'll get to the latest on its production in just a moment. But first, another major actor who's making the rounds as one who could be coming to the Star Wars galaxy is none other than Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr. Now this is coming from a somewhat questionable source, known as Giant Freakin' Robot, but it's too damn cool not to talk about it. The one thing that adds some credibility is the claim that Jon Favreau is the one who's been talking to RDJ in attempts to bring him to a galaxy far, far away. Of course, if you are familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you'll know long before Favreau was heading up the Mandoverse alongside Dave Filoni, he directed the first 2 Iron Man movies, which helped put the MCU on the map. He even appeared throughout the films as Happy Hogan, most recently in Spider-Man No Way Home, even after Tony Stark bit the dust. We certainly have to take this one with a grain of salt, considering we haven't had any sort of indication that Favreau will even be producing a Star Wars movie. Then again, maybe a minor role in the Mandoverse could be given to a Robert Downey Jr. Damn it, now I'm getting my hopes up. Switching gears now to one series that is for sure happening and is in active production, The Acolyte, which began filming towards the tail end of October at the newly built Shinfeld Studios located in Berkshire. We've had various images taken from the set over the past few months, and have even seen the cast in action whilst filming. Things have been fairly quiet for the past few weeks regarding The Acolyte, but this week Bespin Bulletin shared that after some production took place at Pinewood Studios, where Andor Season 2 is also shooting, they've now moved to Arborfield Green, also located in Berkshire. Bespin Bulletin went on to share a new series of images of the set, which has been constructed with shipping containers strategically placed around the perimeter to block any onlookers. Not much can be seen in the images, but cast members and extras covered in black robes can be spotted. The robes are likely not part of the costume, but are being used to hide the costumes worn by the cast. The Acolyte is set to continue filming until May of this year, but it won't debut on Disney Plus until sometime in 2024. It will probably headline that year for Star Wars live action, alongside Andor Season 2. The series is set in the High Republic era, 100 years before The Phantom Menace, and was created by Leslie Headland. It will follow a former Padawan and her Jedi Master investigating a series of crimes which leads them to confront sinister forces. The series stars Amanda Sternberg, Lee Jung-jae, Daphne Keane, Charlie Barnett, Jodie Turner-Smith, Manny Jacinto, Rebecca Henderson, Dean Charles Chapman, and Carrie-Anne Moss. But that does it for today's Star Wars News Roundup video. If you did enjoy, make sure to click the like button and subscribe if you are new to join the Red Squadron. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you. Red 5, standing by.